Shall we start? If you remember yesterday I took an example of ruchi soya. Yes, and in ruchi soya we said that because of some exceptional or extraordinary item, there might be a case where suddenly there is a boom in profit. Okay, so if you remember it was like 70 crores, so I took 7,000 something crores. So for that what I try to do is try to get some material. Now you can see here it's written as para 97 and 98 of IND AS1. You might be like, oh my god, what is this? So well, just tell me in 2 minutes what do we mean by this IND AS. Okay. If every company starts reporting their profit and loss, their revenues, their expenses in their own way, I want to present revenue from operations as operating revenue. I want to show some operating revenue as other income. Other companies say I want to club other expenses with salary expenses. Everyone says my style. Will we be able to compare the results of 2 companies, or it will be very difficult to compare? Very difficult to compare, right? So if I want to compare the performance of 2 or more companies, what is that one word which I crave for? That is standardization. Do you agree with me? If there is good standardization, everyone reports revenues in the same way, everyone reports expenses in the same way, everyone capitalizes the assets in the same way, everyone shows liabilities in the same way, then I can easily compare the company's performances and give my own analysis for that. Everyone agrees? Yes? So in India, there is a standard, okay, standardization method. There you can see AS stands for accounting standard. Now you understand, very simple. Standardization. And which standardization is required? Accounting related standardization. That is why what is the word? Accounting standard. And there you can see IND AS, in Indian. Okay. Why IND AS? So what will happen in US? Will it be US AS? So every country has their own accounting standards. So for example, in US there is something known as US GAAP. Generally accepted accounting policies or generally accepted accounting principles. They have US GAAP. In simple words, can I say their style can be a little bit different from our style? Can I say comparing an Indian company versus comparing a US company can be, apple to apple comparison might be a little bit difficult. We'll have to see where the little difference lies. It might not be totally different. In one of the previous batches, someone had asked me this amazing question. Oh, so it's different. So do you mean that they can treat revenue from operations as other income? That will not happen. Can I say basic logic, basic standard remains the same? Yes. Little bit here and there it may be different. Okay. One last example. In UK, do they have IND AS? No. Do they have US GAAP? No. They follow something known as IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standards. Do we need to have a knowledge of all these? We are going to invest in India, and that is the reason why we should know how reporting is done in India. But just a general knowledge, I thought of telling this to you. 3 examples. All these 3 examples aim at one same thing. And what is that one same thing? Standardization. Is this okay? Now standardization of revenues, you can have one separate standard. So let us say you have revenue, how to recognize revenue. When do you recognize revenue? There can be a separate standard on that. So you can say IND AS1, IND AS2, IND AS3. So there will be multiple IND AS for what various accounting items. And all this is part of CA syllabus. Okay, when I was studying CA, we were only AS, that was accounting standards. I completed my CA, and within like next 5-6 years, this IND AS came into picture. So I was like, oh my god, so whatever I studied, did that go for a pass? Some extent, yes. But do you think that old AS and IND AS will be completely different? Base remains same, right? Some tweaks here and there are possible. So when I learned accounting standards, there were 2 types of items. One was known as exceptional item and one was known as extraordinary item. Can I say more or less something similar? Something exceptional, something extraordinary. In simple words, can I say an expense which doesn't happen in day-to-day business? Correct? So we had learned the definitions of both these items. Now from AS to IND AS, when we had this transition, then what happened was that, I'm just taking you to this. Here you can see IND AS1 doesn't allow to present any item as an extraordinary item, hence this concept is now not relevant only. So earlier what used to happen, I used to teach, okay, this is an exception, just understand, sorry, this is an exceptional item, see the definition, is it an exceptional item? Yes. Then treat it as an exceptional item. Read the definition, understand this, then it will be treated as an extraordinary item. Now what is IND AS saying? Simplify things, now why do you want to complicate? Whether it is exceptional or whether it is extraordinary. Is it something like a one time? Is it something like non-recurring? Other than cute, becharo ko pareshan kar rahe ho. Treat it separately, whether it is exceptional or whether it is extraordinary, just club it up under exceptional items. Don't say this is exceptional and this is extraordinary. Club it as exceptional. Are they simplified? In fact, yes. Simple to hear. Now, what important points of here we need to know? Something exceptional is going to be recorded separately. Now, what can be exceptional? So for that, I've written the exact text here. Okay, we are not learning CS, so we need not know each and every minute detail of that, but just for understanding purpose. So for example, if I were to say this, litigation settlement. Do you understand what is a litigation settlement? Let us say there was a court case, and a company had to pay 2,000 crore rupees as a compensation. They lost the case, and they had to pay 2,000 crore rupees. Is this a regular business expense? Will they have to pay 2,000 crore every year? Does it make sense to club it up under other expenses, or should we show it separately as an exceptional item? Are you with me? Yes. Assume that, if you remember in yesterday's example, I had 3 classrooms. Remember, I had 3 classrooms. When I was teaching to, I given on rent. And assume that I got a very nice buyer and he's ready to pay 1.5 times the price at which I had bought that classroom. So I thought, good deal. Let me sell off 1 classroom. Am I here to trade in classrooms? Was this a regular income or an exceptional income? Exceptional income. So whatever is the profit or loss on that, that will be treated under exceptional items. Is the logic clear? Simple? Yes. Now actually there comes in the concept of materiality. Again, taught in CS, all these professional courses. But simple, I'll try to explain it in a very simple way. Okay. Now I'm talking about a company whose turnover is 1 lakh rupees. Listen, a company whose turnover is 1 lakh rupees. And there was an expenditure of buying a camera of 10,000 rupees. Is this a big expenditure or very chiller expenditure? No, I'm not saying extraordinary, exceptional. No. 1 lakh is the turnover of the company and they spent 10,000 rupees to buy 1 camera. Is this a significant item? Significant, yes. And instead of using the word significant, I can use the word it is a material item. Material means not goods, material or material. Material means significant. Why? 10% of the turnover of the company. So these exceptional items are those which are material in nature, which are significant value. Okay. If it is an insignificant item, what does India say? No need to show it separately. You can just show it as other income or other expenses. Okay. So one last time, assume that I sold this classroom and I got my turnover was now, let us say, I'm revising the example, my turnover was 1 crore. Everyone listen to the figures, okay? My turnover was 1 crore. I sold this classroom and I got a profit of 50 lakh rupees. Is this a significant amount? 50% of my turnover. Will I say other income? Can I say exceptional income? Yes. In addition to that, during the same year, I also sold this camera. Okay? I made 2,000 rupees profit. And I want to say exceptional income. Other income. Have you understood the minor difference? So number 1, you have to ask whether it is a routine expense or whether it is an exceptional expense. Whether it is a routine income or whether it is an exceptional income. If answer is yes, it is exceptional. Then what is an exceptional loss? Is it significant value? If yes, then you have to report it separately. You have to report it separately. If not significant, you can show it as other income. Have you understood? So first I'll complete the examples, then if you have any doubt, you can ask the doubts. So I've taken 3 for examples, I've taken 3 for screenshots. So I'll try to zoom this in. By the way, this is ITC, right? Okay, so here you can see revenue from operations, other income, total expenses. Everyone is familiar with this? Yesterday we have done this. Revenue from operations means what? Routine or exceptional? Routine, main business operations. Then other income, if you remember dividend, interest, all that, other income. Then we talk about all these expenses, be it the raw material expense, be it the salary expense, be it the electricity expense, be it the advertisement expenses, all these routine expenses, any expenses which are required to run the business. All these routine expenses will come up here. Then we get it. Did you learn this also? Depreciation, that reduction in the value. Then we said the total expenses is this much and profit before exceptional items and tax. And here you can see this is the profit. And then they have reported this separately that yes, there is an exceptional item. Now, had this figure been immaterial, would they have written this separately exceptional item? They would have clubbed it in the other incomes. Now, what I've done is, they have also mentioned now the question is, how will I come to know what the exact exceptional item was? Now you want to become an analyst, deep down analyst. So for that you want to know exceptional item again, what do I have to find? And here you can see, there is a number, 27.1. This is the note. So you have to refer to note number 27.1. What note? That notes to accounts. And I said, as a normal analyst, we need not refer to that, it's okay. But if you want to dig down deep, then this is where you can find out the details. Out of this big book, you need to know which note number I have to check, right? So it will be normal sequentially number, then you have to directly jump to note number 27.1. What I've done is just take a screenshot of that and paste it here itself. Now what has been given exceptional item during the year represents the cost of leaf tobacco stocks. Leaf tobacco, whatever the raw material they had, destroyed at a third party owned warehouse due to fire, for which insurance claim has been filed and is under process. Okay. So was there a loss due to fire? Yes. रोज आग लगती है क्या? नहीं. This is an exceptional item, right? So instead of clubbing it under other expenses, what have they done? They've shown this as an exceptional item. Simple now, very clear. Yes. One more example you want? Just as a quick example maybe. This was the simplest one by the way. Others are a little bit tricky, but I can just show you that how they have. Because again, telling you about the retirement schemes, benefits, and all that, it's a bit tricky. So again, same thing, huh? Revenue from operations. By the way, this is Marico. What about this company? It's into which sector? What is sector? FMCG, correct? So same, revenue from operations, other income, total income. Now we know this very nicely, correct? Then which all expenses will these be? Are these assets, furniture? Huh? Is this something like furniture, vehicle, or day-to-day routine recurring expenses? Recurring expenses, day-to-day expenses. Understand this? Do I spend money to buy this camera? Everyone, do I spend money to buy this camera? Yes. Is it a recurring expense? Will it come in P&L? No, that is my asset. That will go in my asset side. Salary. Is it my expense? Is it a recurring expense? Yes. So let's quickly check. Cost of materials consumed, purchases of stock in trade, changes in inventory. All these three basically put together is about the raw material or the work in progress or whatever. So if I want to make this bottle, the plastic granules, will that be my raw material? Yes. One time expense or kind of recurring expense? Kind of recurring expense. Will that go in asset side or will it go as an expense? It will go as an expense. So any material consumption, raw material consumed, work in progress, all that will come under P&L expenses. Okay, all materials consumed will come up here. Then you can see employee benefit expenses. Simple example of employee benefit expenses will be salary. Employee benefit. Correct? What is the simplest example of employee benefit? Salary. Have you heard about gratuity? Yes, that is also an employee benefit. If you heard about something like leave encashment, that is also expense. That is also coming under employee benefit expenses. Next one is what? Finance costs. Before I go to that, employee benefit expenses, salary. Do I have to pay every single month? Something like recurring? In simple words, I hope you have understood. See, finally, whenever there is an expense, normal expense, recurring expense, I spend money every day. Whenever I purchase any asset, that is also where I spend money. But where is the differentiating factor? Whether it's an asset or whether it's an expense to be taken to P&L? The nature of whether it's a recurring expense or kind of one time. Why am I saying kind of one time? If I purchase this camera, does it mean I'm not allowed to buy second time? No, kind of one time. Are you understanding the difference? Yes. So quickly tell me, you check out any P&L. There are only 5-6 major items of expenses. First is related to your raw material consumption. So material consumption. Okay. Second is related to your employee benefits, something like salaries. Okay. Third you can see is related to finance cost. Now what is this finance cost? I've taken some finance and I'm paying some expense on that. What can that be? Interest. I've taken a loan. And whatever interest I'm paying on that, only one time I will pay. Only one time every month I pay my EMI, right? So that interest cost will be my expense. That will be my finance cost. Is this okay? Next one you can see is depreciation and amortization. So amortization is same. That is also reduction in value, but that is for intangible assets. Something like software and all that, goodwill, all that. But it's okay. Finally, we need not go into so much details. Depreciation and amortization both mean reduction in the value of assets. It's expense. And the last one you can see is other expenses. Correct? So quickly tell me what are the 5 main expenses that we are checking here? Raw materials, whatever consumed, then employee expenses, then finance cost like interest, then depreciation, amortization, other expenses. Oh, is this format used only by Marico? Now let's quickly check. Can you see here also? Yes. Expenses. First 3 put together is your material cost. Excise duty. अच्छा थोड़ा सा पहला ये. Excise duty. Okay, for ITC to be there. Then you have employee benefit cost, finance cost, depreciation, other expenses. Correct? If I move ahead, this is Britannia. See Britannia. Cost of material, stock in trade. As I said, first 3 will be about material, right? 1 will be about material. Then employee benefit, finance cost, depreciation, other expenses. So 5 major items and expenses. 2 major items and incomes. Which major items? Revenue from operations, other income. Getting the hang of it? Yes. And then every single time if you see, you can see here what is written. Here, if there is an exceptional item, it will be written right here. Exceptional item. Profit before tax. This is for Britannia. Diminution in the value of subsidiary. This is a little bit tricky. Forget it. I think ITC was the simplest one. Okay, in simple words, what you have to do is whenever you are analyzing any company, I want an answer from everyone. This is the grand finale of exceptional items. Assume that in this company, profit before exceptional items, I want an answer from everyone. Profit before exceptional items was 2,379, same. And let us say there is an exceptional item, loss due to fire, 3,000. Assume, instead of this dash, assume you have to return 3,000. And final profit before tax is loss of 700 roughly. Are you with me? Yes. Would you say, oh my god, something is terribly wrong with the company? No, why? And it's an exception. exceptional item, it's a one-time item. So whenever you see an exceptional item in the P&L, if you want to analyze the profitability, which profitability are you going to analyze? Profit before exceptional items is what you have to analyze. PBT is still different. PBT is this profitability only. This is after exceptional items. So please understand, in routine cases, what can you check? PBT, profit before tax. And when will you check profit if there is any exceptional item, then what will you check? Profit before exceptional items and tax. Have you understood the gist, the summary? Yes? So shall we write down this key line of our analysis? Okay? So write down, generally while analyzing the profitability of any company, we check PBT. We check PBT. What is PBT? Profit before tax. Full stop. However, if there is any exceptional item, into bracket, can you write down the exceptional item which we saw right now for ITC? What was that? Loss by fire. So if you want to write down into bracket example, ITC dash loss by fire. Close the bracket, comma. Then we should analyze profit before. Then we should analyze profit before what? Exceptional items. Have you understood this discussion? No doubt. We will also, that because we are writing, we will also write down some important additional terminologies other than exceptional items. And no one has allowed exceptional items, right? No doubt, sir. That was under process. The insurance claim was under process. When they get the insurance claim, would it be their expense or would it be their income? That would be their income. But again, other income or exceptional item again depends on the materiality of that. Because everyone is going to get they're not going to get an insurance claim. So depending on how significant it is, they'll decide whether other income or exceptional item. Correct. Achha, wait. I got your point. One. This is the ITC one, right? What happened? Party is for which insurance claim has been filed and is under process. Okay. So here you can see there is a minus 132. Okay. Simple. First check what is the profit before this item. What is it? 19,298.92. So 19,300. Let us say. So now you say minus 132. So if you remember something like an outflow into bracket. What is remaining? 19,166. So is it like an expense or is it like an income? Whether that amount is added or subtracted. No? So is it like an income or is it like an expense? Like an expense. Had there been no bracket, you would have added that. Assume that there was an insurance claim received 500. We would have shown that as plus 500 and we would have added that. That will come under exceptional items only if it is material. So basically, exceptional items can be income or it could be an expense. But how will I understand whether it's an income or expense? If it is having this bracket, it's an expense. If it is without bracket, it's an income. If it is material, then it will be written. If it is not material, then other income or other expense. Problem with banking sector is that their balance sheet format and their P&L format itself is different. Completely different format. So they will not be following this format at all. So that is the reason. They will be having Indians. But then, again as I mentioned, they have Banking Regulation Act also. And their schedules primarily guide their P&L and balance sheet. So they have totally different items. They have something like interest fund, interest expenses, other income, their P&L format is totally different. Their balance sheet format is also totally different. There is banking sector for which there is a different one. There is an insurance sector, again for which there is a different style of presentation. Earlier there was also electricity as a sector for which there was a different presentation, but now they have clubbed it up under this single thing. So primarily for us only two, banking and insurance. The rest all follow this. She's saying, what if the exceptional item back to back has been more than the profit before exceptional items? I believe this is a theoretical question. Back to back you have exceptional items means it is a routine expense. But if you are having that, how come it can be exceptional? Correct? So there could be a possibility that these exceptional items are different in nature every single time. But I have never seen any company where every year exceptional items are there, number one, and number two, the quantum is higher than the profit before exceptional item. It could be possible. I'm not denying that it is just next to impossible. But then again, if you want, you can take this as a homework, like we did for revenue from operations and other income yesterday. Someone asked this question yesterday also. That is why I gave the homework. Can other income be higher than revenue from operations? I said this is theoretical. Even if this happens, maybe just 0.01% or so. Same point. There may be a 1 out of 100 case. But if you take random 50 P&L, I doubt whether you'll find this in 49 out of 50. You will not. Okay? And again, I'm repeating. Exceptional item can appear every year. I think your question is exceptional item amount being higher than profit before exceptional item. And let us say my example is 100 is profit before exceptional item, 120 is the exceptional item, and 20 loss. Every single year. 1 year okay, 2 years okay. If you remember on screener, I showed you 10 years back to back data. Okay. So again, having this for 10 years back to back for every alternate company, let us say, doesn't happen. See, what did I say right now? Did I say this is impossible? It can happen. But out of 50 companies, you will not find that in 49 companies. Okay. Oh, she's saying what is material and what is not material? What is significant value? So for that, you have to go to Schedule 3 of Companies Act. And there again, there are different standards which are given 1% of revenue and whatnot. I'll be teaching safe finance now. For banks, NPAs will be exceptional items. Is that what you're asking? What do you think? Not at all. Every single bank will have NPA. I don't know any bank which doesn't have even 1 rupee of NPA. That is a regular business risk that they are facing. Every business has some risk. What is the basic risk for any bank? NPA. Okay. For banks, there is an NPA ratio. So you are saying when will we recognize this as NPA and what percentage we should do a provision? Is that you are asking? Separate ratio. It is there. So when we do ratio analysis for banks, the question is there any ratio for NPAs in banks? So today we are going to do ratio analysis, but today we are not going to do ratio analysis for banks. Tomorrow we are going to have a separate case study on ICICI Bank, in which I will tell you for banking sector what ratios you have to check, what is to be done, because everyone is interested in something which has not been taught till date. OPM percentage. Yes. And TTM mainly. I think this should be the last question. Okay, this is like very nominal point, minor point. 1 minute. Shh. 1 minute. I can tell him. So you want to filter out some good companies. So what we are, okay, you can filter out bad companies also, you can filter out good companies also. So what we are going to do today primarily in the first half is that we are going to try and analyze some important ratios first. Okay, we are going to try and analyze some important factors first. Now once we know that these are the 10 important ratios, these are the 10 important analysis, if you remember 10 pointer theory, we are going to do that today. Could there be n number of ratios? So what do you mean by ratio? One number compared with other number is a ratio. Can I say there can be n number of ratios? This is, see this, I can compare employee benefit expenses with salary, I can compare each and every item with any other item and I can say this is a financial ratio. Should we learn each and every ratios like this, or should we just focus on the most important ratios for analysis? We should just try and analyze which are the most important ratios. Okay, for me what is important can be different for any other person standing here. There is no law, there is no definition of what is an important ratio. Instead of that I will tell you what I feel is important, what I check when I do an analysis. Is this okay? So that is why I call this as RX, R10 ratios. So first I'll tell you the major types of ratios. I will talk about which important ratio should we focus on. Then I will tell you what are the top 10 pointer things that we should focus on. And then, now that we know that okay, these 10 points have to be checked, there are thousands of companies, more than 5,000 companies which are listed on NSE. How do I filter this out? How do I filter out any company which fits into all my 10 pointer analysis? And for that I'm going to tell you on screener, how can we put filters? And very important, free of cost. Okay, even I guess the other day when we were talking about EVs, who was asking me that how can we try and understand the progress? And for that I told you fail. I also checked whether I can see something on screener also. And an amazing feature I came across yesterday only. I did not know about that feature earlier. Sorry. Okay. You know there is something known as corporate announcements. Understand this, very important point. There is something known as corporate announcements. Any important thing which happens in the company has to report this to the exchange. Okay, simple example can be, let us say we acquired this company. Is it an announcement to be made? Yes. To whom? To the exchanges. We increased our capacities. We added 2 more factories. Report to the exchange. We are going to declare dividend. Report to the exchange. We are going to do a stock split. Report to the exchange. Any important news? Report to the exchange. So where do you find these corporate announcements? You can find all these corporate announcements on NSE website, National Stock Exchange website, on BSE website, on Money Control. All these websites you find corporate announcements. But again, we all are working professionals. This is not our primary bread and butter. Do you think every single day I have the leisure to go to the corporate announcement section? Check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 corporate announcements. Today 1 hour I'll sit and read all these 10 corporate announcements and see whether this is relevant for my companies. Difficult or unnecessarily time consuming. Instead of that, I found one very interesting feature today on screener, which says how can I filter out companies with some specific keyword in corporate announcements. Shall I show it right away? Yes. So again, today my focus is going to be on more and more practical inputs rather than just theoretical inputs. Is this fine? Yes. Correct. You will get an email update. Exactly. So I'll tell you how you can get an email for that as well. Even you get an email. So don't put a lot of email alerts, otherwise you will not read it. I just log into my account. I have a premium version. I will have to check that ideally, yes, because there will be limited searches. So typically how does screener work, I tell you. Limited searches will be available in the free version. And if you want unlimited, they'll ask for a premium. क्या बात कर रहे हो? मैं फरार अंदर चला गया. Okay, so here you have, this is screener, like I showed yesterday, okay? Here you have something known as tools. Okay, by the way, yesterday when I showed screener, exactly in between there was a search bar. But that was when you have not logged into your account. When you log into your account, here you can see the search bar. Okay, the position has changed, nothing else. Then you can go to tools. Okay, in tools, what can you see? Export, import, trade data. Arre baapre, this also is a very interesting feature. What are the prices? We have talked so much about inflation in our batch, which can impact the overall economy. If I just check here, so first if I can show you some 1 or 2 more glimpses here. Just an interview. If you remember I talked about palm oil, so I can just search palm oil, crude palm oil and its fractions and kgs whatever. And this will show the import value and import rate is in black. See what is happening with price. See this steep rise. This to this, and this is what March or June 2020. From June 2020 till December 21. Such a steep rise. Is this inflation in line with what we had discussed the other day? If you remember, we also discussed about wheat. Wheat prices. Oh, sorry. See the last 3 months, last 3-4 months. So how can this, tell me why this can be important? Whenever you are analyzing any company, you know that this is the major raw material. Just search the raw material and see what is happening with the prices. If it is terrifically increasing, can I say that profitability is going to be impacted? And if the finished product price is increasing, should they be happy? found in tools, so I just thought of sharing this with you. So this was the first one, expert import data. This is search share LLC companies where a person holds over 1% of the shares. I personally don't use this as a frequent search thing, because let's say I get to know Rakesh Jujunwala holds more than 1% share in which company. Some people will be like, oh, Rakesh Jujunwala holds 1%, more than 1%, it means something is amazing. He has it. For him, 1% in that company might be chiller. For us, it can be a very big thing. Okay, so I don't use this as much. This is the one I was talking about, latest announcements. So I just click on latest announcements. Here you can see all announcements, important announcements, results related announcements, EVs, or you can even add a filter. And add a filter like something like, I want to know about mergers and acquisitions. I want to know about capacity expansions. What is this capacity expansion? I talk about that. More and more factories are being installed. Any resignations, key person resigning, some warning, some approval, some award, any COVID related thing, any con call or presentation. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about that, con call or presentation. EVs. So if I say EV, so it will say electric vehicle or EV, and what they have done is any similar thing. So electric or electronic, that will also come here. Little bit here and there. So very nice search that they have done. Only one problematic scenario which comes up here is because it is electric, so it will search every single word plus together. So for example, for electric vehicle, it can also be electricity kind of a thing. So there can be some more searches as well. Okay, so now if I say show result, so for example, here you can see the company has launched new digital platform for EV segment, which is a company creation infrastructure. Now when I saw this Bharti Airtel, I was like, what? Bharti Airtel is going to EVs? So I just click this. This is the actual corporate announcement that was made up. The soft copy, you can see also stamp and everything. But then what does this mention? Entering into agreement that acquisition equity shares special purpose vehicle consumption for captive of electricity loss. So they have taken electricity. So some might be irrelevant searches also. So was Bharti Airtel entering into EVs? They took electric as electricity. Okay, so as I mentioned, some ठीक है, but still fine, not bad. At least I can get to see whether anything is happening, any specific company that are coming up with an update on EV, I'll get it here. Maybe like every single time I have to go and search, add alert. And here you can see alert set. What does it mean? Any EV related announcement comes up, I get it in my mailbox. Can I say very interesting feature? Yes. So going through each and every corporate announcement can be a pain. But if you know that I want announcement related to this,